times. All right. All right, so welcome and thank you for participating in today's webinar, Identity Theft, what it is, how to spot it, tips to prevent, featuring Pinnacle Bank. I'm Jenny Takaski, the Programming and Communications Manager here at the Better Business Bureau of Midwest Plains. I wanted to let everybody know that this is being recorded, and later on today, we will send out a copy of the webinar as well as some additional handouts from Paige and I. It brings me joy that you can take part of this informative webinar. Check out our website, bbbinc.org, throughout the year to see what else we have planning and going on. Paige Corton from Pinnacle Bank is a valued guest today, and we thank her for joining us. At Pinnacle Bank, she works as a private banking officer. Paige works closely with high net worth individuals and their financial circles to assist with not only personal but also commercial banking needs. Her 8-year tenure in consumer banking has given her a solid foundation to not only support her clients, but also to educate and empower us in the local community on all aspects of banking. We ask that if you have any questions to go ahead and put them in the chat, and we will answer all of them at the end of the presentation that she has. So with that, we'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Paige. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. So yeah, as she mentioned, I've been in banking for a little over 8 years now, and a good chunk of that time was in personal banking as a branch manager. So I have come across a lot of situations and cases where people have had identity theft, and we've kind of helped them walk through the process on how to get everything resolved and how to protect themselves moving forward. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about some of those key things that you can watch for, and then also just some important resources and websites that you can utilize moving forward to make sure that you're keeping yourself and your money safe. So we can go ahead, go to the next screen. So identity theft is a fraudulent acquisition, using a person's private identity information, usually for financial gain. So this is anytime somebody is taking your social security number, date of birth, any of that personal identifying information, and then trying to utilize it for themselves, whether that be for applying for a loan or filing their taxes under that information. Last year, consumers reported losing $10 billion to scams and fraud. This is up $1 billion from last year, and it spread across about 23.9 million people, all that were over the age of 16 years old. And we will be talking a little bit more about how to ensure that you're protecting your children's identity as well. So just keep that in mind, that this number was only people over 16, but there are unfortunately children that are having their identity stolen as well. So that number is definitely bigger than that. And just from like a perspective view, on average, victims are usually sustaining a loss of about $1,100 per scam. And this can range. I mean, I've had situations where people have lost $10,000 or more. So it really just does depend on the situation and how quickly you can identify the problem happening. So today, again, we're going to be talking a little bit more on how to make sure that if it does happen, that you're stopping it as soon as possible, to try and alleviate some of that loss. And Jenny, do you have, there we go. So here are some different types of fraud that we'll be talking about today. So you have phishing, tech support, AI-powered scams, student loan forgiveness scams, work from home scams, loan scams, lottery and sweepstakes sweepstakes scams, and romance scams. These are probably the core ones that I have seen while in banking, but there are definitely a lot more. So while these are going to be the core ones that we'll be talking about today, make sure that you're also watching out for just similarities and other scams that may be not exactly what these ones are, but have some similarities along the way. So the first one we're going to talk about today is phishing. So if any of you have ever watched that show Catfish, where people go online and act like somebody that they're not, phishing is the act of using, online services or other types of social media to act as somebody that they're not in order to try and reveal a different information from you or to gain something from you maliciously. For example, they may email you or text you stating that they are your bank or utility company and that you're needing to log into your account for whatever reason. I think we've all probably gotten an email or a text message before that says, congratulations, you've just increased your credit limit on your credit card, or we've found a suspicious transaction on your account. Please click on this link to verify it or to speak with us. You need to be very mindful of these types of messages and make sure that they are legitimate. I always suggest that if you do get an email or a text message that is from a company that you do utilize, go to their actual website and log in to your actual login, or contact them on a number that you're able to find on their website and validate it that way. You should never click on a link on any sort of email or text message, just because you just never know anymore the legitimacy of that. So as I mentioned before, always utilize a trusted line or a website that you've utilized before to verify that. Other things to keep an eye out for are, you're going to get emails or text messages from companies that you've never even been affiliated with. So they should never be sending you any type of information like that. So those should be deleted right away. Or if it's an email, you can always mark it as a fraud email. So it will try to start to filter those out for you in the future. Also, something to be careful with is AI has definitely accelerated the use of phishing with fraud. We hear stories of AI being able to mimic the voices of people that you know. So you may be getting a call stating that it is your loved one on the other line and they're needing money or they're stuck somewhere and they need you to give them their credit card information. A lot of these phishing scams are going to play off of fear. So they're going to try to scare you one way or another, saying that the police are going to be coming for you if you don't call this number, and try to give them your information to verify it. So you have to be really careful and you have to be able to take a breath and really think clearly to yourself, is this a legitimate call? Or what are the resources that I can utilize to verify this and make sure that I feel comfortable with the request before giving out any information. Okay, the next one is tech support scams. This is probably the other one that is the most popular that I have seen. This will be on your phone or on your computer, and you get a pop-up that states that there's malware on your device or a virus, and you need to immediately click on this link or call this number to try and resolve the issue. When that happens, if you do click on the link or give a call, the caller is probably going to ask for you to give them access to your computer so they can check it for all of this malware. You should never give somebody access to your computer. If something like this happens to you, and you feel like somebody has already gained access to your computer, you should immediately shut down that device and take it to your local, Geek Squad or somebody that is trusted that can review that and take out any sort of virus or malware that may be on your system. If it's a laptop, don't just close it, because that does not completely turn off your computer, and they can still be going through your files and things like that on the other side. So make sure that you're completely shutting it down so that they do not have access to it anymore. And again, go and speak with a professional about it so that they can go and look at it. Some things to be really careful for are, if you do utilize like computer security software like McAfee or Norton, they may give you pop-ups that say that they have found a virus on your computer. You need to be really careful about clicking on those links as well, making sure that it is a legitimate one. Again, when you do get some sort of software like this or are utilizing services, make sure that you're saving the proper contact information and websites that you can go to and verify. That way, when a situation does arise, that panic isn't there and you're not frantically looking for that information. You know exactly where you can go and who you can call to verify, is this actually a virus that I've gotten on my computer? Is this actually somebody that is trying to help me, or is this a scam that's happening? Some other things that may happen during these types of scams is that they will ask you to verify your identity to make sure that it is actually you that's using your computer. Again, if they're the ones that have contacted you and told you about this virus, they should not be also trying to verify your identity. So they should never be asking for any of that. That's one of the biggest red flags that you'll want to watch for is, if somebody is trying to gain any sort of information from you, or credit card information to pay for the additional services, that's when you should really take a step back and make sure that everything is legitimate. For example, I had a customer once that did have something pop up on their screen. They were told to call the number and they were going to have it resolved. It ended up turning into this woman going to her local bank and liquidating her savings account that had over $10,000 in it, and then still on the phone with her, advising her to then go to the local grocery store and buy Sephora gift cards to then send to them as payment. And it wasn't until they asked her to uh, use the Sephora gift card for payment that it really struck her as strange, even though while at the bank, the teller line had, you know, urged her over and over again that this was a scam and that she did not need to be liquidating her account. Um, she did end up actually sending them a Western Union payment initially for that $10,000 before we were able to stop it. So, again, they like to play off that fear aspect of it. And so they were assuring her that by liquidating her account and sending the money to them to protect it, that the scammers wouldn't be able to take it out of her bank account. So you really just have to be careful when something like this happens. So go ahead and go to the next one. So work from home scams became really popular during COVID. People were looking for opportunities where they weren't having to go out, and they were able to work from home. So we saw a large uptick in scams during that time, and they are still around. When you do utilize like websites like LinkedIn or other job posting sites, make sure that you are verifying the validity of the job opportunity before offering up any of your information. These work from home scams typically try to make jobs that just sound too good to be true. They're going to, completely be remote. You can be a secret shopper or potentially wrap your car and you'll earn all of this money for them. Do your research when you are looking for a job. Make sure that the company that you're applying with, do they have limited information available online? Have you actually spoken with somebody in person at all, or has it been completely just electronic communication? Are they willing to hire you without even doing an interview? If it just sounds a little odd to you, then make sure that you are doing your research for this. Another one that I've seen a lot lately, especially on things like Instagram and TikTok, are these influencers that are saying, you can earn $3,000 a day by doing these easy steps and signing up to do research studies or reviewing products online. And in order to get started, you have to enter in all your bank account information, all of your personal identifying information so that they can pay you once that happens. Those I can't speak to all of them that they are legitimate or all scams, but you should be really careful about entering in any of that information because you never know who's on the other side of that screen that's taking that information. So make sure that you are not sharing your personal information or your banking information prior to really vetting that company out. Another one are loan scams. Again, these are becoming a lot more popular with being all online. They're typically scammers that are hiding behind fake payday lenders or cash advance companies, even debt consolidation companies that advertise for quick short-term loans that nobody ever gets denied on. So in a society right now where credit card interest rates are through the roof and times are harder for people, trying to get a little bit of extra cash really quickly is really admirable and attractive to them. So people are applying for these types of loans and offering up all of their personal information in order to get approved. You're as an applicant, they may ask you to give them their online banking password and username so that they can log in and automatically transfer that balance into your account, or do like a wire submission. Again, you need to be really careful about who you're giving that information out to. Any sort of online banking companies, they should make sure that you should be speaking with somebody personally about this and about how is the repayment of the loan going to be happening prior to them asking you for any of that information. So if they're really trying to push you to get all that information up front and quickly, that should be a red flag for you, and make sure that you are, again, just vetting out that information. I cannot stress that enough, that really you do have to just do a little bit of legwork on any of these situations. And again, if you have that gut feeling or you're like, wow, this is just way too good to be true, typically it is too good to be true. So make sure that you feel completely comfortable with the request, and don't be afraid to speak with your local banker either about, hey, I've been looking for this or that, and they are asking for my online banking information or my account information. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts? And your banker will be able to either have some additional information for you about, have they heard of this company, or have they had situations with scams with that company before. Another great resource that we'll be talking about a little later is the scam tracker from the Better Business Bureau that you can do, and you can actually search by the business's name or the phone number, any of that information. And if there has been a scam reported with that, then you'll be able to find it right away. So again, we'll be giving you a lot of great resources that you can use to vet these situations out. But you need to make sure that you are doing the legwork first before going about doing any of it. And just another thing to note is that student loan forgiveness has also been a hot button issue within the last few years. And with all of these government regulations changing about how student loan forgiveness will be happening, it can be really confusing, and there's a lot of fake websites out there that will email you and say, you've been approved for loan forgiveness, go and fill out this information. So make sure that when you are going through these avenues, that you are making sure that they are, the valid companies or the lenders that you worked with when you initially got your student loans, to do that forgiveness. So be careful with that as well. And just some additional scams that I wanted to note. These have been around forever, and unfortunately, they do still happen. Romance scams, again, kind of similar to the catfishing scenario that we talked about, but these are typically people that you will meet online or through dating apps, and they'll fish the victims with fake profiles and stories that align with the people that they are trying to scam, and really just make them feel like it's somebody that they can trust and somebody that knows them so well. And once that trust has been made, they know that they've got you on hook, and that's when they'll start asking you for information to, send them money so that they can come and see you in person, or they're just so in love with you that they want to send you some money because they they want to do something nice for you. So give them your account information, or let me get your online banking information and I'll put this money into your account. Unfortunately, I've seen it happen many, many times, and you just have to be really careful. Again, if you've never actually spoken to this person in real life, that is going to be a big red flag. If they're constantly asking you for that type of information, that is also a red flag. There are people out there that do have good intentions, but unfortunately, in today's world, you do just have to be a little skeptical sometimes, and make sure that you do feel comfortable. And you should never. They should never be asking you to give them that information. If they really do want to do something nice for you or send you money and you really do trust this person, there are different avenues that you can take to make sure that your information is still safe. So just don't fall for the little bits of it. The other one is the lottery and sweepstakes scams. You normally will either get a call or an email letting you know that you've won a lottery. They may ask you for an upfront fee for like taxes, or say, you need to send in a certain dollar amount for your application fee, and then we'll be able to deposit the rest of the winnings for you. We just need your account information, or we need your online banking information. The first thing to kind of ask yourself is, did you actually sign up for a lottery or a sweepstake? Because we've had that happen before. Or is it from a lottery that's happened in a different state? You don't qualify for a lottery that's happening in Florida right now. So if you get a call about that, then obviously that's probably a scam. So make sure that, again, take a step back, breathe, think about the situation, ask yourself some of those core questions, and again, speak with your local banker. They'll be able to walk you through a lot of things as well if something like this happens to you. All right, so now that you are aware of a lot of the common scams that are out there and some of those red flags to watch for, this is how you can play defense if, unfortunately, your identity is stolen. The first thing that you're going to want to do is report the scam. So on here, we've included a few links. The FTC has a website that you can go and submit a identity theft report, and that report is then going to help you in the future as you're trying to regain your identity back and make sure that everything is safe. So I would definitely recommend going on there and reporting the fraud. Also speak with your financial institutions as soon as possible. As soon as you even sniff a scam, you should be calling your local banker and letting them know that there is either a potential scam happening to you or that you have been scammed, so that they can go ahead and take the necessary measures to make sure that your accounts are safe and that your money is safe. You should also probably speak with your local police department. If you have filed a report with the FTC, you can give that to your local police department and they can utilize that. Otherwise, they will have you also fill out a report, depending on the situation as well and what type of scam it is. And again, that scam tracker on the Better Business Bureau's website, you can also report a scam there, and they will be able to have a partner review the scam and also try and help you resolve the situation as much as possible. The nice thing about doing it with the Better Business Bureau too is that then in the future, people can then utilize that resource if that same scam is happening to them as well. The next thing that you're going to want to do is make sure that you are protecting your credit score. So make sure that you request a free copy of your credit report. The website is annualcreditreport.com. There you can go ahead and get a free credit report once a year and review it and make sure that everything is okay. If you do think that you have been a victim of identity theft, they can also get you an updated credit report for free as well. So just if you have already requested one and then something happens, don't think that you just can't get another one. They will give you another one just to verify that everything is okay. You will also want to contact all the credit bureaus, which we do have their contact information notated on here as well, and let them know if you want to put either a fraud alert or a credit freeze on your social security number. And we'll go into a little bit more detail on that in just a second, but contacting them is going to be the biggest thing that you do to make sure that this person or group is not utilizing your social security number to apply for additional debt that might become more of a headache for you later on. The last thing that you'll want to do is make sure that you change all your passwords. And make sure that you're utilizing multi-factor authentication as well whenever possible. Being able to not only have a password on there, but then also maybe needing to verify with a code that's texted to you or by answering an additional security question, that just strengthens everything that you're already trying to do to protect your information and your online banking. So make sure that you're utilizing strong passwords, that you're not using the same password for everything either. That's one where people do get a little tripped up as well. So we'll talk more about changing your passwords and some things to do about that as well. Okay, so like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between fraud alert and a credit freeze. So a fraud alert is the federal right to you and anybody that is a victim of identity theft to place an alert on all three of the credit bureaus to notify creditors that there's been previous fraud connected with your personal information. So if you do know that somebody has stolen your identity, if they haven't already utilized it, they will be in some time. So the faster you can get on this, the quicker you'll be able to protect yourself. What happens is with a fraud alert, when somebody like a banker pulls your credit and we are reviewing your credit score, the first thing we will see on that report is if there is a fraud alert or a credit freeze. The fraud alert will say specifically on there, you know, my identity theft or my identity has been stolen in the past or is actively trying to be utilized in fraud. Please verify by either calling this phone number or by asking this question to verify my identity. So you're able to add on there specifically security questions or contact information. That way the creditor can then call separately and verify that it was actually you that tried to apply for a loan or something like that. The other nice thing about a fraud alert is that you only need to contact one of the credit bureaus and notify them of the identity theft. By law, the credit bureaus are then required to notify the other bureaus about the alert. So if you specifically use one, or the thought of calling all three is very tedious to you, the nice thing is that they will be able to notify the rest of them for you. I would just advise to verify with them that they will already be contacting them. While they are supposed to be, make sure that you are doing your homework as well to verify that. And a fraud alert will stay on your credit report for 90 days. So if you would like for it to be on there longer, then you'll just need to call in and request that they extend that out if you are still working on trying to build that or prevent fraud from happening on your account. Now, a credit freeze will prevent anybody, fraudsters and legitimate parties alike, from accessing your credit report. This freeze will stop fraudsters from opening additional accounts in your name by basically just blacking out your entire credit report. So if somebody like myself was trying to pull your credit because you were applying for a loan, I will get a notice on that report that says that there's a credit freeze that's been placed, and I can't see anything on there. I can't see any of your active debt. I can't see any of your personal information, nothing. So this is a great way where if the ball is already rolling with the theft and things are happening, a credit freeze might be better for you to utilize. That way it just completely locks everybody out. It doesn't mean that it's locked out forever or that you can't unfreeze it if you are trying to apply for a loan while something is going on. It just means that you'll have to do a little bit more legwork in between. So you'll need to contact all three of the major credit bureaus in order to put a credit freeze on each of their reports. You can let them know that you are an identity theft victim and ask for a freeze, and then that stays on until you request to remove the freeze. So it can stay on there forever if you would like. And then as you move forward, and if you're planning on buying a house or buying a car, either your banker will remind you that there's a freeze on your report, so you'll need to call in and ask for them to remove it for a certain period of time. Or you just kind of keep that in mind that you'll need to remove it as they're pulling your credit. I always like to tell my customers that, if there is a freeze, to please unfreeze their account. And then as soon as I pull that, then I will call them back immediately so that they can call the bureaus and add that freeze back on. So if you are concerned about leaving the credit report open for a period of time, just ask for your banker to pull it immediately after you've unfrozen it, and then to notify you afterwards so that you can place that freeze back on. You don't necessarily need to utilize the three credit bureaus to do the freeze. There are legitimate businesses out there that help with credit monitoring and identity theft monitoring that will do that for you as well. So there are different avenues that you can take too, but just make sure that you are, again, verifying that it is a legitimate company before doing anything like that as well. Okay, so now that we've kind of talked about what to do if you are a victim identity theft, here are some ways that you can make sure that it either doesn't happen to you or that it doesn't happen to you again in the future. So the biggest thing is never share your passwords or credentials on anything. I don't care if it's your best friend, if it's your mom. I've seen it happen in all aspects that people have taken this information and utilized it to their benefit. So never share your passwords, PINs, online banking information. If somebody's asking you for that, then there's probably a reason why. And if they are just, trying to do something genuinely nice for you, there are different avenues that they can take in order to still get you what they want to. Always be a little bit skeptical on any sort of message that you receive, especially if it's asking you to click on links or to call in. Even more if they're asking you to verify your identity after you call in. Your bank or any of your protected bureaus will never ask you to verify the information if they were the one that called you first. So keep that in the back of your mind as well. Something that I always like to add on my customers' accounts are security phrases. So then when you do call in, they should be asking you to verify that security password or phrase that you've set up just for some additional verification. And always, always, always use multi-factor authentication when you can. I know it's sometimes a pain when you're just trying to get logged into something and now it's asking you to send a text message to your phone and now you're having to log it over here, but it's for your best best practices and making sure that everything is safe, and it's going to save you a lot of headaches in the future if something were to happen. And then always actively monitor your credit report, bank accounts, devices. I like to say, have a date with your finances at least once a week. Sit down, take 20-30 minutes of your day and check your credit report, check your bank accounts for any suspicious transactions, and then also just keep an eye on your devices for anything that's strange. You should never be saving any sort of secure information on your computer. If you do want to save files or important documents, keep them on a flash drive or keep them on something that is not on your computer, that if somebody were able to gain access, that they could then take that information from you. Again, remember that your financial institutions will never ask you to verify or divulge your entire card number, PIN, all your online banking or other information if they were the ones that contacted you first. So make sure that you are keeping that information close to you and to nobody else. And then finally, here are some important links that we've included so that if something does happen to you or you would like to learn more, you have this all here for you. So here are the websites and the phone numbers for each of the 3 credit bureaus. Each one, their website will have even more information on how you can place a credit freeze or a credit alert. Also, like ways to access your credit report. There are other avenues as well that you can use to keep tabs on your credit. For example, there's like ID Protect Me, which will monitor it'll monitor your credit report and give you alerts if there's ever been any sort of changes to your credit. So that's a great resource to use. There is a small fee with that one, but if it's important to you to kind of keep tabs on it that way, then it might be beneficial. Another one is banksneveraskthat.com. This was created by the American Bankers Association, and it's just a great resource, again, that helps give you some information so that you can start identifying those fraud situations and things that just give you a little bit of a red flag. So it's a great resource to use and to share with friends and family. It's very kid friendly too, so it's a great way for them to start really learning about some of those things that they can keep an eye on as well, especially in today's world where everybody has a cell phone. And then finally, the Federal Trade Commission, that is the website that you will use if you need to go and report any sort of identity theft that you have been affiliated with. And again, you'll be able to keep a copy of that report and then share it with the credit bureaus, share it with your local police department. So it's a great way to kind of start, and then you'll have everything in hand right away.
Thank you so much, Paige.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get started real quick with some questions I see that we have. The first one is, what signs should somebody look for to see if their identity was stolen?
So some of the signs that you're going to want to watch for are suspicious transactions on your bank accounts or notifications that you might get in the mail about recent applications that you have made. So that's why I always say it's good to kind of sit down. I would recommend to look at your bank account every day if possible. Now with online banking, it's very easy for you to just log in quickly and take a look at that and make sure everything is up to snuff. So by doing that, you're familiarizing yourself with transactions on your account, and by doing it as frequently as that, there may be things where you're like, I don't recall doing that, or maybe it's just like the way that the transaction processed that it was legitimate, but it just came through something that you weren't expecting. So being able to just familiarize yourself with your accounts that way will be helpful, but also just keeping up with watching your credit report, utilizing those free resources of getting a credit report annually to check it, and then if you are able to set up any sort of notifications that will alert you that somebody has pulled your credit recently. Those would be some of the core things I would do.
Next question, how long does it take to recover or clean up your identity if it is stolen?
On average, it's going to be about 6 months, is what you typically see for how long it would take for somebody to kind of get everything cleaned up. But again, it's a case by case basis. If it was something that you've done all these measures and you were able to catch it really early on, then it might be something that you're able to resolve very quickly. It might be like one specific application that was utilized under your social security number that you can contact that institution and let them know that it was not you that applied. And then if there was anything that actually came into fruition with that, then they can dispute it for you immediately. But if this has been happening for quite some time and there is debt on your credit report now, especially if it's been obviously they're not going to be paying it back if they did utilize your social security number to do this. So if you have late payments on your credit report, there's a whole process that you're going to need to take in order to let people know that that was not you that applied for that credit. And again, the Federal Trade Commission and the other resources that we provided for you, they'll be able to help walk you through that part even more if that happens. And we are also going to have an additional webinar here in a few weeks to talk about how can you help build your credit back up if something like this happens. So we'll go into more depth on that as well.
Okay. If the credit monitoring company has said that your information has appeared on the black web, should we be concerned?
Yes. Again, you want to be skeptical about that first and make sure that it is coming from a valid source, or contacting one of the credit bureaus here and asking them to verify if that information is legitimate or not. But unfortunately, in today's world, there's probably all of our information is on the black web and dark web in one form or another. It's just the case of, are they able to actually utilize it in a way that can then hurt you later on? So by using these measures and using strong passwords, they're not able to then utilize that to benefit them. So it's a little scary thinking that, you know, that information is probably already out there in one form or another, but there's ways that you can continue to, you know, verify that, or verify that it isn't actually being utilized in a malicious intent.
Great. Just a couple more things just for everybody real quick. As Paige mentioned earlier, at bbb.org /scam tracker is where you can go to report a scam to us, either if it be you or a loved one or somebody that you know. Please report it, so then that way we can let other people be aware of those scams that are going on, and then if needed, help you out as well. Also, there is a way to look up scams. Some of them, like Paige mentioned, the lottery scams, the employment scams, the romance scams. You can click on specifically to see what people have reported on, or you can also just see in general the most updated scams that people have reported on to us too. As mentioned before, at bbbinc.org, you can see where our upcoming events are that we have. These are just a few of them that are taking place this year. On April 20th, we have our shred event up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It is from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and that is at various locations. April 23rd, we have Unlocking the Secrets of a Successful Home Buying. This is going to be a webinar, a panelist, and it will be with people within real estate agents, mortgage lenders, with Paige's coworker being one of them, and then also home inspectors. We also have our Sioux Falls cybersecurity event that day with the Chamber of Commerce. May 22nd is the credit repair, how does it work, webinar with Paige. And then also on May 30th, we have a building your credit, and that's understanding your credit report and your score. And that's going to be with Union Bank and Trust. And then June 4th, the Alzheimer's Association is going to be discussing Alzheimer's and brain awareness tips for a healthy living. And just a reminder for everybody, on September 24th is our 27th annual Torch Awards of Ethics Luncheon. So we just wanted everyone to be aware of that. If you have any suggestions or ideas of events or topics that you would like the Bureau to have and discuss, please let me know. And if you have any additional questions regarding this webinar, please let me know too. I'd love to discuss all of that with you. With everything, again, I am Jenny Tepesky with the Better Business Bureau. I thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule today to come and be informed about identity theft, but then also hopefully that you're able to take away some of these key pointers that Paige has talked about and implement them in your life. A special thank you again to you, Paige, for coming out and helping us today to get this information out to everybody and answering all of our questions, and especially with the steps of how to protect your identity. Lastly, we have a quick survey. You can go ahead and scan the QR code and fill it out. We appreciate everyone's feedback, and we always strive to improve and do better. So with that, again, I will be sending out this webinar later on today to you, as well as some handouts, and we hope to see you all here soon again. Thank you. Bye.